Sup everyone, this is Karak with ACG, and today I'm stoked to bring you the review for Breached by Drama Drifters. Awakened after years of frozen slumber, you find out that the world around you has fallen into ruin, and it's up to you to explore, well, a desert land with some crumbling buildings here and there, and you use your Radio Shack drones that you obviously bought right before you went to sleep to run around these little worlds, collect resources, and then Mad Max yourself back to slumber. Sound convoluted? Brothers and sisters, you ain't seen nothing yet. So as always, if you end up liking this video, maybe subscribe. So here's the review for Breached, another title in the long line of experience games, playing as the spaceship in the Flight of the Navigator, and drones from the 1980s, where remote control vehicles didn't have full reverse like a damned stomper. Graphics are up first. Alright, well, there isn't much going on here. At times when you're a drone flying around alien landscapes, the graphics are pretty good, with various lighting effects and little aspects to make you feel like it is an alien landscape with various strange geometric patterns and oddities stuck around. But who am I kidding? For the most part, it's basically basic sand textures, and then someone randomly shoves a spaceship wing into the earth, like a developer looked and said this level has approximately one too few spaceship wings. It's weird, really, because attempts are made to make it look suitably alien as well by occasionally sticking stone rings into the sand, but in the end those sort of look like you fell into someone's oatmeal, and then they stuck decades-old Fruit Loops into it. And this would probably be okay if the textures were good, but they aren't, which is the opposite of R, and you end up running around a basically uniform world. There's almost nothing in the form of atmosphere building or interest building within the closed-off levels as well. Now that being said, while basic and not at all inspiring, it does run well, and it has this pretty cool interference effect when the creatures that inhabit the futuristic world get too close to your drones or smash into them, but it says a whole lot about a game when you're cherishing the look of death. As a package, absolutely minimal. Sound, music, and voice. And of course, sound is up first. It's actually pretty good with a number of various effects and samples as you hover around the game worlds, interact with the denizens that remain, and try to stay alive. While not diving too deep into the collected bags of store-bought sound effects, though, some of them sound really, really generic, and I would swear I've heard a couple of them in other games before. So while maybe not unique, as a whole, I'd say the sound is pretty good. Music. Now this is bare bones. Actually, it makes bare bones look like a John Williams score. It's just ambient loops that can barely be heard, but sound like someone using the O-Gun synthesizer tool and Fruity Loops on repeat. It's okay for ambient stuff, but it really overstays its welcome, and its dreary doldrums really quickly make you feel like you just want to turn it off. There's no emotional connection between track and location. There's no emotional connection between music and game. It's really, really poor. Gameplay. Oh look, so like the other 1,000 games releasing on Steam, you wake up after some problems occurred that's kicked you out of cryosleep, and you find out your settlement's been damaged and you need to fix it. Has there been some kind of very popular fiction that tells this story? Because this is the 10th game in as many months that I've played following this exact same narrative slant. It's like everyone went to the same meeting in Hollywood and somehow they came out with Armageddon and Deep Impact, but in video game form. But you know what? That doesn't really matter as long as the game is good, right? Because gameplay is what matters. Well, okay. So here you drive drones around the game world collecting items to create and synthesize equipment so that you can repair the equipment that's been damaged so that you can go back to your frozen-ass slumber. Yeah. While doing so, as each day passes, a little bit more of the story is unlocked in the guise of some kind of interactive journal that basically has you clicking 1 to 3 different choices on what you want to investigate. I just can't lie. This is as lean and to the point of being almost stunningly shallow that I've ever seen gameplay. While fly riding your drone around the world's locations that all look like they're about 50 feet from one another, you have to escape entities that are basically made out of light and look like, well, a big ball of light. In a game so barren of anything really interesting to do, you would hope control was spot on, but moving around, backing up, and so forth is rough. And there are a couple times where I got caught on items within the game world, fell through various locations, and sometimes just got completely mired in what I can only assume was the game's own depressive state of mind. Now, once you've collected some items, you can go synthesize them to make the stuff you need to save your life. Maybe. Honestly, that's it. It can be played many times in a row so you can unlock more story bits by making different choices on what to interact with in your journal, but honestly, this is just too threadbare to get excited about, and the drone gameplay is so rote that in the end you never want to go back and go through it just to read another journal entry and choose word 3 instead of word 4 like your last playthrough. You know, thinking back on decades of gaming, I can say rarely does a title stun me so much, either good or bad, but this feels like someone put a graphical front end on one of those old choose-your-own adventures that you could buy in the 80s. Scratch that, actually. It's more like the one you and your friends wrote trying to copy those. There's just almost nothing here, and what is weak, while its strengths are so quickly gone as to feel almost ethereal in nature. Fun factor. Yeah, no. No. Honestly, it just doesn't feel like a game at all. It feels like the most bare-bones way to get a short story into game form using some kind of editor to throw in some levels. Even when you find more places to salvage, they all look the same, and in the end, you're probably just wondering why you're still playing in the first place. It's just a very, very depressing game to play. So I rate games about to buy, wait for a sale, rent, or when it's a PC title, deep sale, and of course, never touch. Well, here's the thing. This is the end game. This is not an early access title. So honestly, I'm going to rate this as a don't touch. There's nothing here. It's quite simply not that enjoyable. Playing it multiple times through, the story isn't that different. And yes, there are some different choices you can get and you can sort of uncover bits. This could have been so much dramatically better had they just stuck to some type of graphical novel format instead of throwing in these really, really rote and just poorly designed levels. So anyway, that's it for me. Hope you guys liked the review. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Maybe check out the Patreon. Maybe check out the Twitter. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And as always, peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.